The quantum scanner's hum filled the cramped research pod as Dr. Maya Chen adjusted its frequency for the thousandth time. The ruins of Station Echo floated before her, another dead outpost at the edge of known space. Like the others, its corridors held no bodies, no signs of violence, just emptiness and strange crystalline growths that defied analysis. "Tell me you found something interesting this time," Captain Sarah Wells said through the comm, her ship's stellar horizon maintaining a protective orbit nearby. Command's getting impatient with these ghost stations. Maya was about to report another disappointing scan when the quantum readings suddenly spiked. "Wait, there's something different here." She maneuvered the pod closer to a section of hull covered in the familiar crystals. The quantum signature. It's not random. There's a pattern. The crystals began to pulse with a soft amber light, responding to the scanner's beam. Maya's instruments registered a cascade of data unlike anything she'd seen before. "Sarah, are you seeing this?" "Affirmative." "What did you do?" "Nothing." It's like they were waiting for us to ask the right question. Maya's fingers flew across the holographic interface, trying to capture every bit of information. These aren't just growths. They're data storage systems, but they operate on quantum principles we barely understand. The light from the crystals intensified, and suddenly the pod's interior was filled with a holographic display. Stars, galaxies, and something massive moving between them. Something that devoured light itself. "Maya, your pod's power readings are going crazy. Get out of there." But Maya couldn't look away from the message being burned into her mind. The crystals weren't just storage devices. They were warnings. Warnings about something that had hunted among the stars long before humanity learned to make fire. "They're coming," she whispered, watching as the hologram showed entire star systems going dark. "The Void Hunters. And we're not ready." The pod systems suddenly overloaded, plunging Maya into darkness. As emergency power kicked in, she realized with growing horror that the crystals had changed. They were no longer amber but a deep, pulsing red. "Sarah, we need to get this data back to Earth immediately." But first, Maya's voice steadied as she made a decision that would change humanity's future. "First, we need to wake them up." "Wake who up?" "The Sentinels, the ones who left these warnings. They're not all dead. They're waiting in quantum stasis, scattered across these stations, and now they know we're ready to learn." As if in response, the station's ancient systems began to power up, corridors lighting with the same red glow as the crystals. Deep within Echo's core, something was stirring. Something that had waited eons for a species clever enough to understand their warning, but brave enough to face what was coming. The hunt that had begun at the dawn of time was about to enter its final phase, and humanity, despite all its limitations and fears, would prove to be the one thing the Void Hunters never expected: a prey that refused to run. 3 months after the Echo Station incident, Maya stood before the United Earth Council, her hands trembling slightly as she projected the latest findings. The chamber's curved walls displayed a real-time map of known space, with red markers indicating the growing number of systems going dark. "The Sentinels we awakened have shared their knowledge, but the price of that knowledge." She paused, gathering her courage. "The Void Hunters aren't just consuming stars. They're consuming possibility itself." Admiral Kenzo Tanaka leaned forward, his cybernetic eye whirring as it processed the data. "Explain it in terms we can all understand, Doctor." Maya nodded, bringing up a simulation. "Every star has potential futures, billions of them. The Void Hunters don't just feed on stellar matter. They feed on these quantum possibilities. Each star they consume reduces the number of possible futures for our universe. They're not just killing stars. They're killing hope itself." The chamber erupted in murmurs. Sarah Wells, now promoted to fleet commander, stood up. "The Sentinels fought them before. Why didn't they succeed?" A new voice answered, crystalline, alien, yet somehow warm. The hologram of Guardian Varro materialized beside Maya, its crystalline form shimmering with internal light. Because we fought as we always had, with logic and predictability. The Void Hunters learned our patterns over millennia. We could not surprise them. But humans can, Maya added quickly. The Sentinel's quantum scans show that humans generate more potential futures than any species they've encountered. Our chaos, our creativity, it's not a weakness, it's our greatest weapon. Admiral Tanaka's artificial eye flashed. You're suggesting we can fight creatures that eat stars with unpredictability. More than that, Varl's voice resonated through the chamber. Your species' neural patterns create quantum disturbances we never thought possible. You don't just think about possible futures, you create them. Every human decision spawns new realities that even the Void Hunters cannot predict or consume. Maya brought up new data, showing brain scans alongside stellar energy patterns. We found a way to amplify this effect. The Sentinel's quantum crystals can be modified to channel human consciousness. We can create weapons that don't just fire energy. They fire possibility itself. And the cost? Sarah asked softly, knowing her friend well enough to see the burden she carried. Maya's voice wavered. The human pilots would have to be directly connected to the quantum drive. Every shot fired would be powered by their own potential futures. They'd be burning pieces of their own destiny to save everyone else's. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had found its weapon against the Star Eaters, but using it meant sacrificing the very thing that made them special, their infinite potential. Varl moved closer to Maya, its crystalline form pulsing with gentle light. We did not understand at first why our warning systems led us to your species. Now we do. You are not just capable of fighting the Void Hunters. You are capable of something they cannot comprehend, willing sacrifice for others. Admiral Tanaka stood, his decision made. How many ships can we build with this technology? 7, Maya answered. We call them the reality forges, but we need volunteers who understand that every time they fire the main weapon, they're burning away their own possible futures. Once those futures are consumed, they can never be recovered. Sarah stepped forward. I volunteer for the first ship. One by one, others stood. Scientists, soldiers, explorers, each willing to sacrifice their infinity of possibilities so that others might keep theirs. Maya watched them with a mixture of pride and sorrow. The Void Hunters were ancient, powerful, and utterly alien, but they had never encountered a species willing to burn their own futures to forge a better present. They had never faced humanity. In the depths of space, another star went dark, but this time, it wasn't met with despair. This time, humanity had hope, even if that hope came at the highest price imaginable. Sarah Wells stood at the helm of the Reality Forge Starkiller, watching the quantum crystals pulse in harmony with her heartbeat. The neural interface tingled at the base of her skull, connecting her consciousness to the ship's systems. 6 other reality forges flanked her position, their crews linked to their vessels in the same intimate way. All ships reporting ready, Maya's voice came through the comm from Earth Command. Remember, each reality forge can only fire 3 times before the pilot's quantum potential is depleted. Make them count. The Void Hunters had been spotted approaching the Proxima Centauri system, a writhing mass of darkness that bent light around it. Long-range scans showed 3 stellar masses already consumed, their futures erased from existence. I'm detecting something strange. Lieutenant Raj Patel reported from his station on the Starkiller. The quantum wake from the Void Hunters, it's changing direction. They know we're here. Sarah felt a chill through the neural interface. The ship wasn't just responding to her commands, it was sharing her fears, her determination. Through the quantum link, she could sense the other pilots, Captain Chen on the Daybreak, Commander Rodriguez on the Future's Edge, all of them connected through the crystalline network. They're accelerating, Raj announced, multiple signatures breaking off from the main mass. The void seemed to fracture, splitting into dozens of smaller hunters. They moved with impossible grace, their forms defying normal physics as they spread out to surround the human fleet. They're trying to predict our moves, Varel's voice resonated through the quantum network. Standard combat algorithms suggest retreating to defensive positions. Sarah smiled. Then let's do something they won't expect. All ships, scatter formation Chaos 7. The reality forges broke formation, each ship moving in seemingly random patterns. Through their shared quantum connection, the pilots could coordinate without broadcasting their intentions. Each random move was actually part of a larger dance, one born from human intuition rather than tactical logic. The first Void Hunter struck at the daybreak, its darkness reaching out like tentacles of null space. Captain Chen's ship spun away, leaving a trail of quantum possibilities in its wake, each one a future that might have been, each one toxic to the beings that fed on probability itself. They're reacting, Sarah observed. They've never seen quantum potential used as a weapon before. She watched as the Void Hunters recoiled from the trails of human possibility, their darkness contracting away from the quantum wake. But the Hunters were ancient and clever. They began to adapt, learning to predict even the unpredictable patterns of human thought. A tendril of void caught the future's edge, starting to drain its quantum energy. Rodriguez is in trouble, Raj reported. His quantum levels are dropping. Sarah made a split-second decision. All ships, converge on my position. Prepare for possibility cascade. Sarah, no. Maya's voice cut through the comm. A synchronized burst from all ships could burn out every pilot's neural interface. You'll lose all your future possibilities at once. Better to lose our futures than let humanity lose theirs, Sarah replied. Through the quantum network, she felt the other pilots' agreement. Their ships moved into formation around the Starkiller, their crystals pulsing in unison. The Void Hunters sensed the building energy and began to converge, their darkness forming a sphere around the human ships. They thought they were trapping their prey. They were wrong. On my mark, Sarah commanded, feeling the quantum energy building to impossible levels. The neural interface burned in her skull as she pulled more and more potential futures into the present moment. Through the crystalline network, she could feel the other pilots doing the same, each one sacrificing their infinity of possibilities for this single crucial moment. The void closed in, ready to consume not just their energy, but every future they might have had. But humanity had learned something the Void Hunters never could. Sometimes the most powerful future was the one you chose to give up. The quantum wake of the possibility cascade rippled through space-time, a shockwave of human potential unleashed in a single devastating moment. Where there had been darkness, now there was light. Not the light of stars, but the brilliant glow of 1,000,000,000,000 futures burning all at once. Maya watched from Earth Command as the sensors struggled to process what they were seeing. The Void Hunters hadn't been destroyed. They had been transformed. Their darkness had been filled with the infinite possibilities of 7 human souls, each possibility a spark of light in the void. Life signs from the reality forges, Lieutenant Commander Jackson reported, his voice tight with concern. They're alive, but... Maya rushed to the neural readouts and felt her heart sink. The pilot's brainwaves were there, but the complex quantum patterns that made each human consciousness unique were gone. They had burned away their own futures to save humanity's. "Get me a channel to the Starkiller," she demanded. After a moment of static, Sarah's voice came through. Weak, but present. "We can see them now, Maya. Really see them." "See what?" "The Void Hunters. What they really are. What they've always been." Sarah's voice was distant, as if she was watching something beyond human comprehension. "They're not destroyers. They're preservers. They've been running." Through the quantum crystals that now filled the space where the battle had taken place, images began to form. The Void Hunter's true nature revealed itself not in darkness, but in desperation. They had been consuming stellar futures not out of malice, but in an attempt to hide them from something even worse. The heat death of the universe. Varel's crystalline voice resonated with new understanding. They were trying to preserve possibilities by consuming them, storing them away in quantum space where entropy couldn't reach them. Maya watched as the transformed void hunters began to move, no longer in predatory patterns, but in a dance of creation. Where they passed, they left behind new quantum crystals, each one containing fragments of the futures they had preserved. "We didn't defeat them," Sarah explained, her voice growing stronger. "We showed them another way. Our willingness to sacrifice our own futures proved there was something more powerful than preservation. There was transformation." The other Reality Forge pilots began to report in, each describing the same phenomenon. Though they could no longer generate new quantum possibilities of their own, they could see the intricate web of futures that connected all living things. They had become something new, bridges between what was and what could be. "The Sentinels left their warnings not because they feared us," Varel mused, "but because they saw in humanity the potential for this moment. You would either fall to the Void Hunters or transform them. There was no middle path." Maya looked at the quantum readings again, understanding finally dawning. The pilots hadn't just sacrificed their futures, they had woven them into the fabric of space-time itself. Each possibility they had given up now served as a template for new futures, not just for humanity, but for all living things. "Admiral Tanaka needs to see this," she said, already compiling the data. "The quantum crystals the Void Hunters are creating. They're not just storage systems, they're seeds. Seeds of new universes," Sarah confirmed, "using the patterns of our sacrificed futures as blueprints. We didn't just save our universe, Maya. We gave it a way to survive its own ending." In the space around the Reality Forges, the transformed Void Hunters continued their work, weaving human possibility into the quantum fabric of reality. They had been running from the end of all things, carrying the accumulated futures of countless dead stars. Now, with humanity's gift, they had become architects of new beginnings. The price had been high. 7 humans who would never again generate new futures of their own. But in exchange, they had given every living thing in the universe something the Void Hunters had never been able to provide. Not just preservation, but renewal. 5 years after the possibility cascade, the observation deck of Earth's new quantum observatory hummed with activity. Maya stood before the massive quantum display, watching the spread of crystalline structures across the galaxy. Each point of light represented a seed of possibility, planted by the transformed Void Hunters using the templates of human consciousness they had received. Sarah floated beside her, her body sustained by the same crystalline technology that had transformed the Hunters. Though she could no longer generate new futures of her own, she had gained something else: the ability to see the quantum web that connected all living things. "The expansion has reached the Andromeda Galaxy," Sarah reported, her voice carrying echoes of crystalline resonance. "The other pilots are reporting similar growth in their sectors. The seeds are taking root." Maya nodded, studying the data streams. What had seemed like an end, the sacrifice of 7 human futures, had become a beginning. The transformed Void Hunters had taken the patterns of human possibility and used them to create quantum matrices that could preserve and nurture the futures of entire civilizations. "We've detected 3 new spacefaring species emerging in seeded regions," Admiral Tanaka announced, entering the observatory. His cybernetic eye had been upgraded with quantum crystals, allowing him to see both physical and possibility space, each one exhibiting unprecedented levels of quantum potential. "They're evolving along the templates we provided," Sarah explained, gesturing to the display. "Not copying human consciousness, but using our patterns of possibility as a framework for their own development. Each species completely unique, but carrying an echo of human potential." Varel materialized next to them, its crystalline form now incorporating strands of void dark energy. The Sentinel had become a bridge between the ancient past and the uncertain future. "The first ones feared that humanity would consume the stars," it observed. "Instead, you taught the star consumers how to seed them with new life." Maya touched one of the quantum crystals that now grew commonly on Earth, feeling the possibilities sleeping within. "We never understood what made humans different until we had to sacrifice it," she said. Our futures weren't just ours to live, they were ours to give. The observatory's doors opened again, admitting a group of students, the first generation of humanity to grow up alongside the quantum crystals. They carried within them a new kind of potential, one born from the marriage of human chaos and crystalline order. "Tell us again about the cascade," one young student asked Sarah, eyes bright with curiosity. "About how you saved the universe." Sarah smiled, her crystalline eyes reflecting the light of 1,000,000,000,000 possible futures. "We didn't save it," she corrected gently. "We taught it how to save itself. The Void Hunters thought they had to consume possibility to preserve it. We showed them that possibility only truly lives when it's shared." The quantum display shifted, showing the intricate dance of transformed hunters as they spread their seeds of possibility across space. They were no longer running from the heat death of the universe. They were ensuring that even after this universe's end, new ones would bloom, carrying within them the eternal echo of human consciousness. "And the price?" another student asked. "Losing your own futures." "We didn't lose them," Sarah replied, watching a new quantum crystal bloom in response to the student's curiosity. "We gave them away. And in doing so, we made them immortal." Maya looked out at the stars, each one now surrounded by a web of quantum possibility. The first ones had been right to note humanity's potential for changing the universe. They had just never imagined that the change would come not through consumption or destruction, but through the uniquely human gift of willing sacrifice. In the depths of space, the transformed Void Hunters continued their work, no longer hunting futures but seeding them. And in each seed was a spark of human consciousness, not controlling, not consuming, but nurturing the infinite possibilities that would bloom in countless new universes to come. The universe had faced its greatest crisis not in the threat of destruction, but in the fear of preserving what was at the cost of what could be. Humanity's gift had been to show that the only futures worth preserving were the ones you were willing to give away, so that something new and wonderful might grow in their place. And in that truth lay humanity's true power, not in mastering the stars, but in teaching them how to dream of new possibilities.